Welcome back again to our channel, The Knowledge of God in a Deeper Dimension. Now we are in the second part of the study. We are going to answer a second question where it says, they are going to be equal to angel and sons of God as the sons of resurrection, according to the book of Luke chapter 20 verse 35 and 36. We are going to analyze what is the difference between the angel and the sons of God. In the first video, we answered the question saying, who is God? We discovered that God is a combination of a spirit and a soul. And we know as well the sons of God is a combination of a spirit and a soul inside of a body. Now we are going to know the difference between the angels and the sons of God. Let's go. What is the difference between the angels and the sons of God? The difference between angels and sons of God is that angels are created only from spirit. They are flames of fires. The angels are light beings. The angels are intelligible powers. The angels are principles and laws ministered before God. And this is exactly what the angels are. You see the difference between the angels and the sons of God? I'm going to read this 3 verses for you that will enlighten you about the nature of the angel and the sons of God. Also, as we already know what the sons of God are, I'm going to read these verses to enlighten you about the nature of the angels. Let's go to the book of Hebrews chapter 1 verse 7 and verse 13 and 14. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 7. Here's what it says. He makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire. This is what the angels were, a flame of fire, winds or spirit. Verse 13. To which of the angel has he ever said, sit at my right, and until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet? Verse 14. Are they not all ministered spirit sent out to serve for the sake of those who want to inherit salvation? This is what the Apostle Paul explained here. They are all a servant spirit. The angels were only servant spirit, ministered before God. For who? For his children. For those who are going to inherit salvation. That is the difference between the angel and the sons of God. There is no angel that has never been called sons of God. According to the Bible, there is no angel that have been called sons of God. The sons of God are made from the Spirit of God and the soul of God. They are inside of a body. Even if they are not inside of a body, they will be still called the sons of God. But they are like angels, but they are not angels. Angels are only made of Spirit of God. That's the reason why the angels are principles. The angels are laws. The angels are intelligible powers ministered in front of God for the benefit of his children. And this is the difference. In one word, I want to let you know that the angel has no soul. That is the difference between the angel and the sons of God. Angel has no soul. They're only made of spirit. But the sons of God, they have soul and spirit. You see the difference? Now, if you truly want to understand, I will tell you clearly that in the kingdom of the divine, in the divine kingdom, there is only God and his children. Any being, any creature that God is not made with a combination of his soul and his spirit is not son of God. But they are creature of God as well, but they're not saved. Between the angels, there are many classes of angels. Like there are the seraphims, there are the archangels, They are all different types of angels. But the angels are not same as the sons of God. Simple as that. Now you see the difference? There is some other questions that I would love to answer. For instance, what does it mean in the creation, the plural of let us make man in our likeness? When God used the plural saying that let us make man, what does it mean? Why is there a plural there? Were there many gods together, or was God creating the world with his spirit or with his angel? The answer is that no. The plural you see that's mentioned here in the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, when God said let us make man in our image, it was the Spirit of God that was talking to the soul of God. They were planning about the creation. Simple as that. And I'm going to read for you another verse through the Bible that will reveal you where the Spirit of God is talking to the soul of God as well. Let's go to read the book of Psalm 110 verse 1. Here's what it said. The Lord says to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. That was the Spirit of God that was talking to the soul of God. They were communicating. Likewise, us as a children of God, we have within us this two entity. We have our soul and our spirit. Sometimes they interacting each other, planning our life to lead us to a success in our life. Sometimes when people hear that little voice in their mind and they say, oh, I hear my gut feeling, or I hear my intuition. No, it's not your intuition it's not your intuition or your gut feeling. Well, whatever. Some people might call it like that. But the thing is an interaction between your soul and your spirit to lead your life towards success. When I talk about success, I don't talk about success according to the world vision or to the world mindset. Most people know to be successful according to the world mindset. It's when you are accumulating wealth, having a lot of money, or being a billionaire or a millionaire, whatever it is. Those people mostly what they do. They accumulate money. They love to show off. I mean, not all of them, but most of them, what they do, they share to those who already possess. They neglect those who are in need. They neglect the orphans. They neglect the widows. And what else they do? They showing their power over the others. They show off things. They show the wealth. This type of behavior is the behavior of people who want to be successful in this world according to the mindset of the world. For this type of people, here's the message that Jesus has for them. We can see that message in the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 26. Jesus said, "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?" That is the message that Jesus has for the type of people who want to be successful according to the mindset of the world. It says in the Bible, don't love the world, nor the things that are in the world. If someone loves the world, the love of God is not in him. And when I talk about success according to the world, and this is the type of success I'm talking about. But the true success, when I say your spirit and your soul is interacting or planning or communicating within you, when you hear that little voice who want to guide your life towards success, I am talking about a success according to the Father, according to the Spirit, to the Father's Spirit. Here's what I mean. This success is when your spirit lead you to do action where you never find yourself in a situation to lose your soul. When you're acting according to the will of the Spirit of the Father while you are on earth inside of this body. And this is what the success really means. Why? Because anyone who loses or who forfeit his soul is a failure man. If you lose your soul or if you forfeit your soul, you are a failed man. That's it. Now, if you want to be living a successful life, according to the Bible, according to the Spirit of the Creator, here's what you have to do. You have to let yourself instructed by the will of God through His words, because the will of God is revealed through the Bible, through His word. You have to let yourself instructed by the Bible, so you know exactly what God wants and what God doesn't want you to do. And you're not to be living a life like the arrogant people and hiding yourself full of excuses. You will not be pleasing to God if you're living a life like that. I'm going to read these two verses for you where that will tell you how you can live a life according to the Spirit of God, so you can live a life with prosperity. Let's go to the book of Psalm chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yield its fruit in its seasons, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. This is the type of attitude someone must have. Taking the habit of meditate in the law of the Father to understand what the true will of God is, so you don't forfeit your soul when you are taking action. And as well in the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 13, here's what it says. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Meaning, you should recognize your mistake. You should not be hiding behind things like Adam did at the beginning. But when you humble yourself, you know that you can make mistakes. God is looking for the type of people like this. Recognize that you are not bigger than who you are. Recognize that you have a Father above. And this is the type of people that God is looking for. Now, the little question that I would ask, if we have this two entity, our souls and our spirits within us, that talking and planning in our life to take a decision, to lead our life. When will we know the voice of God is talking with us? And when will we know the voice of the devil is talking with us? How could we make the difference between the voice of God and the voice of the devil? Because we have these two entities talking with us in our mind. Now, the answer is this. Since our childhood in this world, we get influenced by all type of thoughts, by all type of actions. And we go to school, we were educated not about spiritual stuff. We were educated not about God, but they teach us things according to the world. So meaning our mind spiritually get corrupted. We don't really know the true vision of the spiritual world because we don't know God. That's the reason why you can find people still in this world don't know if there is a God that exists, and they don't know who they are. As I reveal that for you, this is a blessing. When we get corrupted according to the world, we are influenced by all type of things that we're doing in this world. We have a mindset according to the world mindset. We don't have a mindset according to God mindset. This is why it's so difficult for us to know when the voice of God is talking to us and when the voice of the devil is talking to us. Now, what the Bible tells us as an advice, the advice that the Bible gives us, because it's so difficult for us to analyze, to recognize the voice of God when God is talking to us, the technique or the advice is to discern the message, discern this suggestion. I'm going to read the book of 1 John 4 verse 1, so you can see what we have to do when we hear something for the first time, when we get a message for the first time. Here's what it says. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God, for many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is what we have to do. We have to discern the spirit to know if the message you are coming from, they are coming with, it's from God. Sometimes yourself could be a false prophet for yourself. You can come up with a reasoning or with a mindset, with a thought, and that thought is totally against the will of God. Someone else can come up with a suggestion to you and want you to do something or ask you to do something, or suggest you're doing something, and it's a false reasoning. And for that reason, the Bible advises us to discern this type of thoughts to know. Now, how will we discern that? The best way to discern that is to go through the Bible, to meditate, and to search if that idea go along with the will of God. Otherwise, we have to reject it. What do we have to watch for when you are discerning those type of thoughts then they come in your mind? First, you have to analyze if that idea come to your mind is full of selfishness. Because the thoughts of the world are mostly based on what is selfish. They only think about their own self. And the Bible warned us about that. I'm going to read a verse for you so you can see that properly. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 24. Here's what it says. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. And this is the type of thoughts you have to watch for. See if the thoughts that's coming in yourself is for the benefit of you and others. But if it's only for your own benefit, you have to step back. It's a selfishness. And sometimes you might have this kind of idea come in your mind, and you see yourself having an idea full of earthly fears. You totally forget about the Father. You're not leaning on the Father, but you find yourself leaning on your own ability. You're leaning on your own intellect ability. You count on your own money, on your own possessions, or you do all such of a sacrifice to fix your problem on your own. When you find yourself in a situation like that, recognize that you are not acting according to the Father, but you are acting according to your own will. And this type of thoughts, you have to be careful with it. Yes, you have to be careful with it. And this is the type of spirit that the Father is asking us to be careful of when you have these two thoughts are talking in within your mind. You might see a lot of people are looking for security. What they do, they buy a gun, or they escort themselves with a bunch of security guard to give security to them, but they don't think with the Father anymore. They don't recognize if they have a Father. When you are little, you have a problem, so you don't try to fix it by yourself. What you do, you go to your Father. You look for help. But when you're grown up, you should be looking for God, asking God help. But when your spirit is disconnected with the Spirit of the Father, so you find yourself in a situation where you become your own master, you become your own God, and you do things on your own. You don't let the Spirit of God lead you anymore, and this is where you find yourself acting against the will of the Father. But the Bible wants you to recognize that you have a Father. I'm going to read this verse for you. Romans chapter 8 verse 15. Here's what it says. For You did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. If you know that you are connected within you with the Spirit of the Father, you will always look for help from the Father. You will never try to figure out everything on your own by yourself. Sometimes when you have a bad thoughts come in your mind, you don't recognize it, you cannot know it. Sometimes here's what it is. Is the manifestation of one of these lust or all three of them. These are three lusts or those who taking over in human minds that corrupting your mind. And I'm going to read this verse so you know these three types of lust that is in the world. In the book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 16. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, this is the first one, and the desires of the eyes, which is the second one, and pride in possessions. It's not from the Father, but is from the world. These are the three types of desires or lusts that taking over or that are manifested in your life when it's not the voice of God is talking to you. Now, how would you know when the voice of the devil, or what does the voice of the devil means when the devil talks to you? Here's what it means when the voice of the devil talks to you. When the soul within you is taking over of the spirit that is within you. And this is exactly what it means. The devil is talking to you. When your soul is taking over of your spirit, or the willing of the soul is taking over the willing of the spirit, in that time it becomes not the voice of the Spirit of God. It becomes not the voice of God, but it becomes your own will that's acting. Because what? Because the soul is focused on desire. The soul is focused on pleasure. That's the reason the soul is looking for what is comfortable for himself. The soul is looking for what is good and to be comfortable. And this is what's happened when the soul is taking over of your spirit, and you find yourself acting according to your own nature. And the Bible say when you're acting according to the flesh, you're acting according to your own natural will. And this is where the devil is leading you. And this is what the Bible calls the voice of the devil. Now you see the difference. I'm going to read this verse for you so you can see exactly what it means here. 1 John 3 verse 10. He says, by this is evident who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is that the one who does not love his brother. Okay, if you are not practicing the righteousness, you are the son of the devil. But does the devil have a son? The son of the devil are those who are acting according to their own will. Your flesh desires should never take over of your spirit. And simple as that. This is what you have got to know when you are acting. When the soul takes over the spirit, it becomes the will of man. Again, the Bible calls that the spirit of the flesh, or the will of the flesh. If I read this verse for you, the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 17, it says that, for the desire of the flesh is again the spirit, and the desire of the spirit or against of the flesh. For these are opposed to each other, to keep you from doing the things you want to do. This is exactly what's happened to you when your soul takes over of your spirit. It's become your own desire. It becomes the desire of the flesh. It becomes the voice of the devil. Now you can see the difference between the voice of God and the voice of the devil. when you want to act according to yourself, according to your own nature, it's the voice of the devil that's leading you. As we know in the first video that the woman represent a manifestation of the soul and the man represent a manifestation of the spirit. And this is the reason why the Bible does not allow a woman to take authority over a man and a woman to teach. Because women represent the soul and men represent the spirit. If I read this verse now for you and you can see it clearly, where it says in 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12, I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. And this is period. The same that woman, your soul should not take over of your spirit within you in the physical way, in the physical life, a woman should never as well taking authority over a man. And I'm going to read a verse from the Bible to show you where God mentioned the authority of man over the woman. The book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 16. I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. And this is where God again mentioned the superiority of man over the woman. Woman should never take authority over man, and soul should never take authority over spirit, or your soul should never take over your spirit. When your soul is taking over your spirit, so you become someone who is acting according to your own will, and you are disconnected with the spirit of the Father. And this is what it means, the devil in our life. Now the question that I have to ask is this: what does it mean when God says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh? What does it mean they shall become one? They shall become one flesh. In the third video, I'm going to answer these questions, to explain you what it means they shall become one flesh. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.